Once upon a time, in a busy coastal city where the ocean met concrete buildings, there lived a 32-year-old office worker named Thomas. Thomas was very negative. His mind was always full of dark thoughts. All day long, he saw problems everywhere he looked. A simple mistake at work became a disaster in his mind. A friend's silence meant they hated him. Every opportunity looked like a trap waiting to fail. These negative thoughts made him feel anxious and hopeless. He always replayed his failures from the past and imagined terrible outcomes for the future. Because of this constant negativity, his mind was like a dark cloud that blocked all sunlight. He couldn't feel hope, couldn't trust good moments, and even forgot what it felt like to be optimistic. His relationships suffered. His health declined. Every morning he woke up already defeated by thoughts that hadn't even happened yet. One day, while sitting alone on a bench by the harbor during his lunch break, Thomas overheard two sailors talking. They spoke about a small fishing village 3 hours down the coast. People said that an old fisherman lived there who had a strange gift. That man used to be a successful psychiatrist in the capital city. He had helped hundreds of people overcome depression and anxiety in his career and had taught them how to change the way they think. Now he was retired and in his 70s. He left his prestigious practice and the expensive city life and started living as a simple fisherman in a quiet village by the sea. Sometimes he still helped visitors who found their way to him, but only through fishing, never through words alone. Thomas became curious and desperate for change. He decided that he must go and meet that old fisherman. He thought, maybe this man can help me escape this prison of negative thoughts. Maybe he knows something I don't. The next Saturday morning, Thomas drove down the winding coastal road toward the village. After 3 hours of driving past cliffs and crashing waves, Thomas reached the small fishing village. When he got there, he saw weathered wooden houses painted in fading blues and whites. At the edge of a small dock, the old fisherman was preparing his boat. His hands moved with calm precision as he checked his nets. His face was tanned and deeply lined, and he looked completely at peace with himself and the world. Thomas walked up to him nervously and said, "Sir, I heard you might be able to help me. My mind is filled with negative thoughts constantly. Every day feels heavy. I see the worst in everything. I want to break free from this pattern. Can you help me?" The old fisherman slowly looked up from his nets and studied Thomas for a moment. Then he gave a gentle smile and said, "So, you want to break free from negative thinking? Then come with me. We're going fishing, but I will give you a special task." The fisherman handed Thomas a small bucket and said, "We're going out on my boat for 2 hours. During this time, I want you to do something important. Every time you catch a fish, look at it carefully. If the fish is healthy and strong, keep it in this bucket with fresh seawater. But if the fish is sick, damaged, or too small, you must throw it back immediately. Your job is to be very selective. Only keep the good ones. Do you understand?" Thomas nodded, though he wasn't sure how this would help his problem. But he trusted the process and accepted the challenge. They climbed into the small wooden boat and pushed off from the dock. The morning sun sparkled on the water. Seagulls called overhead. The old fisherman rowed them to a spot where the water was deep and clear. He handed Thomas a fishing rod and said nothing more. Thomas cast his line into the water and waited. After a few minutes, Thomas felt a tug. He pulled up a small fish, silver and shimmering. But when he looked closely, he saw the fish had a torn fin and looked weak. Following the fisherman's instructions, he carefully threw it back into the sea. The fisherman nodded with approval but said nothing. Thomas cast his line again. Soon another fish came. This one looked healthy at first, but its scales had dark spots that suggested disease. Thomas hesitated, but then threw it back as well. This pattern continued. Fish after fish came to his line. Some were too small. Some had injuries. Some looked dull and lifeless. Each time, Thomas examined them carefully and released them back into the ocean. Hours passed. The sun climbed higher. Thomas's arms grew tired, but something strange was happening. He noticed his mind becoming quieter. He was so focused on examining each fish carefully, deciding which to keep and which to release, that his usual stream of negative thoughts had slowed down. He wasn't thinking about his failures. He wasn't imagining disasters. He was simply present, making careful choices, one fish at a time. Finally, Thomas caught a beautiful fish, bright-eyed, strong, and healthy. He smiled and placed it gently in the bucket. Then another good one came, and another. By the end of 2 hours, his bucket had 5 perfect fish. The old fisherman rowed them back to shore. When they reached the dock, he finally spoke. He looked at Thomas and asked, "Tell me, how many fish did you catch in total today?" Thomas thought for a moment and said, "Maybe 30 or 40 fish came to my line." The fisherman nodded. "And how many did you keep?" Thomas looked at his bucket. "Only 5. The fisherman smiled warmly. "And what did you do with all the others?" Thomas replied, "I examined them, saw they weren't good, and threw them back." The old fisherman's eyes sparkled with wisdom. He said gently, "That is exactly what you must do with your thoughts. This is the secret that was always available to you, but you didn't know how to use it. Your mind is like this ocean. Every day, dozens of thoughts come to you, just like fish coming to your line. Some thoughts are healthy and helpful. They give you energy, hope, and direction. But many thoughts are damaged, sick, or too small to be useful. These are your negative thoughts, your worries, your fears, your harsh self-criticism." He continued. "Until now, you were keeping every fish. You were holding on to every negative thought that came to your mind. You were feeding them, giving them attention, letting them swim around in your head. But just as you learn to examine each fish and throw back the unhealthy ones, you must learn to examine each thought and let go of the negative ones. You have the power to choose. Not every thought that enters your mind deserves to stay there. You are the fisherman of your own mind. You decide what you keep and what you release." Thomas felt something shift deep inside him. For the first time in years, he understood. The negative thoughts would always come, just like the damaged fish would always bite the hook. But he didn't have to keep them. He could examine them, recognize they weren't helpful, and let them go. He could be selective about what he allowed to stay in his mind. Slowly, Thomas began to understand the profound truth. Breaking free from negative thinking is not about stopping negative thoughts from coming. That's impossible. Breaking free is about learning to recognize them quickly and choosing not to hold on to them. It's about being selective with your mental energy, just like being selective with fish. Keep only what serves you. Release what doesn't. Thomas looked at the old fisherman with tears in his eyes and said softly, "Sir, now I understand. If I want to break free from negativity, I must become aware of my thoughts and choose carefully which ones to keep. Not every thought deserves my attention. That is when real freedom comes." The old fisherman smiled again and placed a weathered hand on Thomas's shoulder. "You learned well today. Practice this every day. Your mind will become clearer, just like this bucket of healthy fish." The afternoon sun was beginning its descent toward the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. Small waves lapped gently against the dock. Fishing boats were returning home with their daily catch. Thomas started walking back to his car, carrying the bucket of fish as a reminder. But now, he was not the same anxious, negative man who had arrived that morning. He had changed. He was lighter inside because now he knew how to be selective with his thoughts, how to catch and release, how to keep only what helped him grow. If you like this story, please give it a like and share it with your friends who might need this lesson. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories like this one. Thank you for staying with us. See you in the next story with new thoughts and new lessons. Until then, stay well and stay free from negativity.